2 Chronicles 17. King Jehoshaphat of Judah. Jehoshaphat son of Asa became king and strengthened his defenses against Israel. He assigned troops to the fortified cities in Judah, as well as to all the towns in Judah and to those towns in Ephraim that his father Asa had captured. When Jehoshaphat's father had first become king of Judah, he was faithful to the Lord and refused to worship the god Baal as the king of Israel did. Jehoshaphat followed his father's example and obeyed and worshipped the Lord, and so the Lord blessed Jehoshaphat and helped him keep firm control of his kingdom. The people of Judah brought gifts to Jehoshaphat, but even after he became very rich and respected, he remained completely faithful to the Lord. He destroyed all the local shrines in Judah, including the places where the goddess Asherah was worshipped. In the third years of Jehoshaphat's law, he chose 5 officers and gave them orders to teach the Lord law in every city and town in Judah. They were Benaiah, Abadiah, Jechaiah, Nathaniel, and Micaiah. Their assistants were the following 9 Levites: Shechemiah, Nethaniah, Zebadiah, Asahel, Semilala, Jehohanan, Adoniah, Tobijah, and Tab-Adoniah. 2 priests, Elishama and Jehoram, also went along. They carried with them a copy of the Lord's law wherever they went, to taught the people from it. The nations around Judah were afraid of the Lord's power, so none of them attacked Jehoshaphat. Palestine brought him silver and other gifts to give to Kipis. Some of the Arab people brought to him 7,700 rams and the same number of goats. As Jehoshaphat became more powerful, he built fortresses and cities where he stored supplies. He also kept in Jerusalem some experienced soldiers from the Judah and Benjamin tribes. These soldiers were grouped according to their clans. Adonai was the commander of the troops from Judah, and he had 300,000 soldiers under his command. Jehohanan was second in command with 280,000 soldiers under him. Amashia, son of Zichri, who had volunteered to serve the Lord, was third in command with 200,000 soldiers under him. Eliada was the brave warrior who commanded the troops from Benjamin. He had 200,000 soldiers under his command, all of them armed with bows and shields. Jehojabad was second in command with 180,000 soldiers under him. These were the troops who protected the king in Jerusalem, not counting those he had assigned to the fortified cities throughout the country. 18. Micaiah warns King Ahab of Israel. Jehoshaphat was now very rich and famous. He signed a treaty with King Ahab of Israel by arranging the marriage of his son and Ahab's daughter. One day, Jehoshaphat went to visit Ahab in the capital city of Samaria. Ahab slaughtered sheep and cattle and prepared a big feast to honor Jehoshaphat and the officers with him. Ahab talked about attacking the city of Ramoth in Gilead and finally asked Jehoshaphat, "Would you go with me to attack Ramoth?" "Yes," Jehoshaphat answered. "My army is at your command. But first let's ask the Lord what to do." Ahab sent for 40 prophets and asked, "Should I attack the city of Ramoth?" "Yes," the prophets answered. "God will help you capture the city." But Jehoshaphat said, "Just to make sure, is there another of the Lord prophets we can ask?" "We could ask Micaiah, son of Imlah," Ahab said. "But I hate Micaiah. He always had bad news for me." "Don't say that," Jehoshaphat replied. Then Ahab sent someone to bring Micaiah as soon as possible. All this time, Ahab and Jehoshaphat were dressed in their royal robes and were seated on their throne at the dressing place near the gate of Samaria, listening to the prophets tell them what the Lord had said. Zedekiah, son of Cana, was one of the prophets. He had made some horn out of iron and shouted, "Ahab, the Lord says, you will attack the Syrian like a bull with iron horn and wipe them out." All the prophets agreed that Ahab should attack the Syrian at Ramoth and promised that the Lord would help him defeat them. Meanwhile, the messenger who went to get Micaiah whispered, "Micaiah, all the prophets have good news for Ahab. Now go and say the same thing." "I will say whatever the living Lord my God tells me to say," Micaiah replied. Then Micaiah went up to Ahab, who asked, "Micaiah, should we attack Ramoth?" "Yes," Micaiah answered. "The Lord will help you to capture the city." Ahab shouted, "Micaiah, I've told you over and over to tell me the truth. What does the Lord really say?" Micaiah answered, "In a vision I saw Israelite soldiers wandering around, lost in the hills like a sheep without a shepherd. The Lord said, 'These troops have no leader. They should go home and not fight.'" Ahab turned to Jehoshaphat and said, "I told you he would bring me bad news." Micaiah replied, "I then saw the Lord seated on his throne with every creature in heaven gathered around him." The Lord asked, "Who can trigger Ahab and make him go to Ramoth where he will be killed?" They talked about it for a while. Then finally a spirit came forward and said to the Lord, "I can trigger Ahab." "How?" the Lord asked. "I'll make Ahab's prophets lie to him." "Good," the Lord replied. "Now go and do it. You will be successful." "Ahab, this is exactly what has happened. The Lord made all your prophets lie to you, and he knows you will soon be destroyed." Zedekiah walked over the slapped Micaiah on the face. Then he asked, "Do you really think the Lord would speak to you and not to me?" Micaiah answered, "You'll find out on the day you have to hide in the back room of some house." Ahab shouted, "Arrest Micaiah! Take him to Prince Joash and Governor Ammon of Samaria. Tell them to put him in prison and to give him nothing but bread and water until I come back safely." Micaiah said, "If we do come back, I was wrong about what the Lord wanted me to say." Then he told the crowd, "Don't forget what I say. What I said." Ahab dies at Ramoth. Ahab and Jehoshaphat led their armies to Ramoth in Gilead. Before they went into battle, Ahab said, "Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself." But your loyal love, Ahab disguised himself and went into battle. The king of Syria had ordered his chariot commanders to attack only Ahab. So when they saw Jehoshaphat in his robe, they thought he was Ahab and started to attack him. But Jehoshaphat prayed, and the Lord made the Syrian soldiers stop. And when they realized that he wasn't Ahab, they left him alone. However, during the fighting, a soldier shot an arrow without even aiming, and it hit Ahab between two pieces of his armor. He shouted to his chariot driver, "I've been hit. Get me out of here." The fighting lasted all day, with Ahab propped up in his chariot so he could see the Syrian troops. He stayed there until evening, and by sundown he was dead. 19. Jehoshaphat returned safely to his palace in Jerusalem, but the prophet Jehu, son of Hanani, went to him and said, "By helping that wicked Ahab, you have made friends with someone who hates the Lord. Now the Lord God is angry with you, but not everything about you is bad. You destroyed the sacred poles used in worshipping the goddess Asherah. That shows you have tried to obey the Lord." Jehoshaphat appoints judges to settle cases. Jehoshaphat lived in Jerusalem, but he often traveled throughout his kingdom, from Beersheba in the south to the edge of the hill country of Ephraim in the north. He talked with the people and convinced them to turn back to the Lord God and worship Him, just as their ancestors had done. He assigned the judges to each of the fortified cities in Judah and told them, "Be careful when you make your decision in court, because you are judging by the Lord's standard and not by human standard, and He will know what you decide. So do your work in honor of Him and know that He won't allow you to be unfair to anyone or to take bribes." Jehoshaphat also chose some Levites, some priests, and some of the family leaders, and he appointed them to serve as judges in Jerusalem. He told them, "Faithfully serve the Lord. The people of Judah will bring you legal cases that involve every type of crime, including murder. You must settle these cases and warn the people to stop sinning against the Lord, so that you won't get angry and punish Judah. Remember, if you follow these instructions, You won't be held responsible for anything that happens. Amaria, the high priest, will have the final say in any religious case, and Zebadiah, the leader of the Judah tribe, will have the final say in all other cases. The rest of the Levites will serve as your gains assistant. Be brave, and I pray that the Lord will help you do right.